Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The morning sun filtered softly through the white curtains, casting a gentle glow across Emily's bedroom. She blinked awake, the remnants of a dream still dancing vividly behind her eyelids. It had felt so real, as though the dream had been lived rather than imagined. In the dream, she was sitting in a quaint cafe filled with the scent of roasted coffee beans and fresh pastries, the murmur of quiet conversations floating around like a warm blanket. She was waiting, and then he appeared. A man with a kind smile and eyes that seemed to hold stories of faraway places and whispered secrets. Emily sat up, heart fluttering in a way that was both exhilarating and unsettling. She had never met this man before in real life, and yet, in her dream, he had felt familiar, as if they'd known each other in another time, another life. They shared a conversation filled with laughter and gentle confessions, and she could still feel the warmth of his hand on hers. But before she could remember his name, the dream had dissolved like mist in the sunlight. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, touching the cool hardwood floor, and poured herself a glass of water. The images from the dream were so vivid, so compelling, they seemed to pull her gently towards the day ahead. There was something about that cafe, a place she had never visited before, reaching out to her through the shadowy veil of sleep. Wrapping herself in a long woolen coat, Emily stepped out onto the bustling city street. The morning air was crisp, filled with the scent of blossoming lilacs and brewing coffee from the cafes that lined the avenue. She found herself walking, driven almost instinctively, past the usual shops and bookstores, the familiar sights blurring as her mind stayed locked on the dream. The cafe from her dream was real. She was certain of it. She had only to find it. Her footsteps slowed as she approached a narrow alley bathed in dappled sunlight. There, nestled between a florist and an old, dusty bookshop, was the cafe. The sign above the door was a simple wooden plaque, hand-painted with curling letters, the Café of Dreams. Her heart soared and sank all at once. She hesitated for a moment outside the door, brushing her hair behind her ear, then pushed it open. The bell above the door jingled softly, and she was enveloped by warmth and the rich aroma of coffee and cinnamon. Inside, the cafe looked just as it had in her dream. Rustic wooden tables, mismatched chairs, shelves lined with jars of tea leaves, and the sunlight filtering through the lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the floor. At one corner table sat a man, reading a slender book, his dark hair falling slightly over his forehead. The moment Emily laid eyes on him, her breath caught in her throat. It was him, the man from her dream. He looked up at the sound of the bell and their eyes met. A flicker of recognition passed between them, an unspoken understanding that transcended words. His smile was gentle, familiar, and something warm blossomed within Emily, a yearning she had never known. Summoning her courage, she walked over and hesitated. "Hi," she said softly. His lips curved into a smile that made her heart ache for reasons she couldn't explain. "Hi," he replied, closing his book slowly. "I wasn't expecting you." Emily smiled, an awkward laugh escaping her lips. "Me neither. It's strange, but I had this dream last night. About this cafe, and about you." He studied her for a moment, as if trying to piece together a puzzle. "Really? That's incredible." He gestured to the seat opposite him. "Sit. Let's talk." She sat, still feeling the surrealness of the moment course through her veins. "I don't even know your name." "It's James," he said. "And you are?" "Emily." The two names felt like keys unlocking a shared narrative neither of them yet understood. James smiled. "I wonder if this is fate or something else." Emily considered this and then nodded. "Maybe the dream was a way of showing me something I was meant to see." They both fell silent for a moment, absorbing the comfort of the quiet cafe, the hum of life around them a gentle backdrop to this peculiar, unexpected connection. As the morning slipped into afternoon, Emily and James shared stories and laughter, each revealing parts of themselves that had remained hidden, a mosaic of hopes and fears, dreams and memories. Their conversation flowed like the rich coffee between them, smooth, intoxicating, and warm. Jennifer, the cafe owner, watched them from behind the counter with a knowing smile. She had lived long enough to recognize the magic in the air when souls met by design. She poured 2 more cups of coffee and left them with a reassuring nod. Outside, the world hurried by, but inside the Café of Dreams, time seemed to slow, wrapping Emily and James in a bubble where only they existed. The sky outside dimmed slightly, the earth preparing for twilight's gentle descent. "Emily," James said after a while, "I've never believed in coincidences. Something about today tells me this is only the beginning." Emily nodded, her heart swelling with an emotion she couldn't name. I think I might believe in destiny now." James reached across the table and took her hand in his. The contact was electric, a promise of new beginnings and endless possibility. Days turned into weeks and then months, and the Café of Dreams became a haven for their unfolding romance. Each morning, Emily would find her way back to the café, where she and James would share breakfast and dreams, their connection deepening with every conversation and shared silence. In the soft glow of the café's twinkling fairy lights, their love blossomed against a tapestry of whispered promises and stolen glances. The memories of that first dream lingered like a gentle melody, reminding them that sometimes, love finds you in the most mysterious ways, through a dream, a chance encounter, or a doorway to a café filled with hope. One crisp autumn evening, as the leaves swirled like golden whispers outside the café, James took Emily's hand and led her to the small garden behind the shop. Lanterns glowed softly, illuminating the space with a romantic light. "Emily," he said, voice trembling with vulnerability, "I don't know how to explain what you've become to me. You're not just a dream, I want you to be my reality." With that, he pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and opened it to reveal a delicate ring shimmering under the lantern light. Tears welled in Emily's eyes, a mixture of joy and disbelief washing over her. "Yes," she whispered, the word carrying the weight of everything she had hoped for and more. Their kiss was sweet and tender, a seal on a love that began in a dream but flourished in the light of day. Years later, the Café of Dreams continued to be a place of magic, not just for Emily and James but for everyone who walked through its doors, carrying the hope that dreams, no matter how fleeting, might just lead them to their own love story. For more stories, like and subscribe.